Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect and all the brothers pushing this work in sincerity and truth. This is Brother Thamime from GMS Toronto, coming at you with another video. Today's lesson, I'm going to be talking about colonization in the kingdom, right? Because everyone seems to be talking about Babylon the Great and how they colonized, not just Babylon the Great, but these Edomites in general, right? And how they colonized the whole known Western world. And now we're seeing DJ Trump pretty much trying to establish another another stint of world domination through his currency, right? That's all that's going on right now, right? He's trying to pretty much go into these other nations and reestablish that they are the rulers of this world, right? And then through that, he's taxing them and he's pretty much implementing tariffs on these other nations, right? So in the kingdom of heaven, this is what the Israelites are going to be doing, but in a righteous sense, okay? In the way that this world should be stewarded. That's how the Israelites are going to be managing this whole world and managing these nations. So let's get into the word colonization, okay? It says your act or process of colonizing, right? State of being a colony, right? It says here in the noun of action from colonized in U.S. history. So it's going into you Israelites being colonized, right? So it says here the movement of assisted immigration. They call it assisted immigration. Wow. So we call that they call it slavery on this side, okay? Or free blacks to Africa for the formation of colonies there. Let's jump down to a little to colonize. This was colonization. I gave you an example. It says here to settle with colonists, plant or establish a colony in, from the stem of Latin colonus, tiller of the soil, right? A farmer. To migrate and settle in, right? To make another place into a national dependency without regard for settlement, right? Without regard for the people that's living there, right? Such as in reference to French activity in Egypt or British in India. How about America, right? How about these Edomites to the Native Americans and Native Canadians, right? And in this sense, it is probably directly from colony, right? So that's the root of the word. In the kingdom of heaven, let's get I'll come back to that, but let's get the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom in the book of Daniel. Daniel 7 and 18 says here, but the saints of the Most High, which are the Israelites, shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever, right? So when you take something and possess it, I just give you the definition of colonization, right? And the same thing that you see these Edomites did under the French, under the Spanish, and the English and Dutch, that's what the Israelites are going to be doing in the kingdom of heaven. All right, so let's get into Isaiah 60, and we'll start at 3. And it says here, and the Gentiles, right, which are these nations, Salakia, and the Gentiles shall come to the light, and kings to the brightness of the rising. The natural Gentiles are these other nations, right? And the other Gentiles are the Israelites. Who's in that state of mind? It says they lift up their eyes round about and see, all they gather themselves together. They come to thee. The sons shall come from afar, and thy daughters shall be nursed by thy side. Then shall then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. So the forces of the Gentiles are the things that they have in their lands, right? In their possession. For example, in Africa, they're known to have cobalt, right? They're known to have gold, silver, natural resources, right? Oil, right? Certain places in the Middle East, they're known to have a lot of natural resources. So they bring their resources, just like how Nigeria and all those places have companies from England and France and and Dutchland have company that just extract their resources and take it. Okay, that's the same thing that we're gonna do to these these heathens in the kingdom of heaven, right? They're gonna bring their forces to us, right? And that's part of being colonized. When you bring the forces of your first of your first of your first pickings to a nation that's over you, right? This is pretty much paying homage, right? The word that I'm looking for is when it comes to paying homage is being taxed, right? But the other word will come back to me. The main word that I'm looking for. It says that the multitude of camels shall cover thee, right? That goes into livestock. Doesn't have to be camels, but we're gonna go back to that. Camels, cattle, right? Sheeps, goats, ox, right? Whatever. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. So let's see what dromedary means. Arabian camel. Okay. So it's still a camel. So livestock of Midian and Ephah. All day from Sheba. So this goes into the Arabs, I think, from what I remember. So yes, Arabians shall come. So these are Arabs that the Arabians, they're gonna bring their forces also. Daughters, right? Gold, silver. I'm not too sure if we're gonna be using fracking to extract oil and stuff like that, because the oil is being extracted at an alarming rate right now, right? Not sure if we're gonna do that, right? They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall shew forth the praises of the Lord. So guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna worship Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in our kingdom. Okay? They're not gonna be any more other false religion like Islam, Christianity, Judaism. None of that stuff is gonna. No Christmas is gonna be celebrated in the kingdom, right? They're gonna just know the Passover. They're gonna know the rest of our holidays. That's in holy days actually. That's in the book of Leviticus, right? They're gonna bring everything that they're going to worship everything that we worship, right? That's why we're going to be judges and judge over these nations, right? That's why they're going to be colonized. They have to be colonized in order for them to worship in the right way. That's why the tribes are going to judge over them. The elect are going to judge over them, right? And make sure that they don't go off, right? Just like how in this time, everyone has a Western mindset. In the kingdom of heaven, they're going to be forced to have an Israelite mindset. Okay? All the flocks of Kedar, which goes back to these Arabians, tents of Kedar, right? The Arabian tribal, right, shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nabaoth shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance of mine altar and I will glorify the house of my glory. Right? So they're gonna do their sacrifices also, right, to the Lord of the Israelites, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? They're gonna do the things that we tell them to do under the laws of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right? Who are these that fly as clouds and as the doves to their windows? So that goes into the chariots. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish. So they're gonna be bringing a lot of things in, man. A lot of natural resources, right? Wood, thine wood, right? They're gonna be bringing in gold, silver, right? The stones that's mentioned in Revelation to build up our kingdom, the jasper and all that stuff, right? All that stuff is going to be brought by these other nations. And that's how you know you're being colonized, when you're bringing the first of your flocks, the first of your children, the first of your natural resources, and giving it to another people. That's what's being called being colonized. Just like how Belgium colonized Congo for like over 100 and something years, right? All the natural resources, and guess who was mining all those rubber and cutting down all those trees? It's the Congolese people, right? They're getting their hands cut off because they were colonized under the Belgians. And that's the same thing that's going to happen. So it says here, the ships of Tarshish, to bring thy sons from far, thy silver and their gold with them, right? So they're going to be working the fields. They're going to be digging the mines, right? They're going to be bringing the forces to the Israelites, right? Being colonized. And they, guess what? They're going to speak that language too, of ancient Hebrew. They're going to go right back to that. They're going to leave off all these languages that they had on this side, and they're going to speak that Hebrew, right? Under the name of the Lord, thy power, and of the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls. Right? You hear that? That's where you know you're being colonized, when you're building up another man's colony or another man's kingdom. Just like how the Israelites build up America, they build up Greece, they build up Rome, right? They build up Babylon, they built up Persia, they build up the Assyrians, right? Their sons chilled. Their sons laid back. Their sons were taskmasters while the Israelites worked. So the same thing is going to happen, man, in the kingdom of heaven. Our sons are gonna bark orders. The elect sons are gonna bark orders, right? We're gonna have these other nations as taskmasters over you Edomites, and over you Elamites, and over you Ishmaelites. All of you are going to get it, man, right? And the men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, mentioned here again, right? And that their kings may be brought. So the kings of these other nations are going to be working. They're not going to be any chilling. Like how now these kings are living their good life, they're living the high life, right? While the princes of the earth, the princes of Yahweh Shem Shai, they're hard at work. Okay, for the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yeah, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet, which is the earth right here, to be glorious. Okay? Tell you the earth is his footstool. So this is going to be the kingdom of heaven on earth, with the Israelites ruling and being true stewards of the earth, being judges, being kings, being princes, being priests, right? And we're going to colonize. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. So you hear that? You Edomites are going to come bending. You Ishmaelites are going to come bending, right? You're going to bow down to the Israelites. And that's what being colonized look like. That despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Right? Let me get another scripture. It says here, shall not, let's go into Revelation, be shut day nor night. All right. Also, Isaiah. I think I skipped, I did skip this verse. Hold on. Yeah, I think I skipped a verse. It says here, therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut up day nor night. The men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and their kings may be brought. I think, did I read that already? There's a scripture in Revelation that I'm looking for. Let me just type in Revelation and see if it comes up. Yep. Yeah, this is the one. Revelation 21 and 25, and it says, and the gates of it, which is the kingdom of heaven, shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. Right? So you nations are going to be super colonized, man. You're not going to have a problem. Even if you have a problem, you know what? You're going to have a problem bringing your stuff to the Israelites. And some of you are not. Because you're going to be like, why are these people ruling over us, man? Because it's going to be, we're going to rule with rigor. Right? It's not going to be one of those peaceful things for you Edomites, man. And for the rest of your nations, it's going to be a peaceful thing for the Israelites, yes. Because it tells you the I'm going to bring that out too. And there shall be in no wise enter into it, and anything that defile it, neither whatsoever work it abomination or make it a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. It says your rule with a rod of iron, stem of Jesse, rule with a rod of iron. This is Revelation 2 and 27, and it says, and he, which is Yahweh Shai, shall rule them with a rod of iron, as a vessel of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my father. If this is not colonization, I don't know what is. So the same thing that you see happening here, which is Esau ruling, colonizing from pillar to post in this world, that's the same thing the Israelites are going to be doing under the kingdom, under Yahweh Shai, right? And under the king, King David, and under the elect. You know what I'm saying? You're going to speak our language. You're going to worship what we worship. And if you don't, then you know what's going to happen to you. Okay? You're going to be branded an enemy of the state. The state of the kingdom of heaven, man. Right? Yashar Allah. You're going to be branded an enemy of Yashar Allah. And in our kingdom, you do not want to be an enemy of Yashar Allah. All right? So I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah HaKadash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect and all the brothers pushing this work in sincerity and truth. Shalom.